You're listening to the T21 Podcast, brought to you by Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks. Our mission is to bring life and wellness to families who are advocating towards a community of inclusion for individuals with Down syndrome. Hello and welcome to the T21 Podcast. My name is Chloe Jones and joining with me here today is Amy Bullard.
Hello.
As well as a special guest that I'll introduce in just one moment. And here on the T21 Podcast, we explore topics that are relevant to the Down syndrome community in 21 minutes or less. And today we're going to be talking about nutrition, all things nutrition and more. But first, I just wanted to invite you to like this podcast and subscribe to our channel. We release videos the 21st of every month. And if you see a topic that you find exciting or intriguing, if you could send it to your friends and family, we want to get this information out to as many people as possible, and you can help us do that. Now, on to today's topic, nutrition. Today we have Kenlyn Shettlesworth. She's here with the Missouri University Nutrition in Greene County.
Yes.
It's a long title.
The real title is massive, but we'll talk about that.
Well, today we're going to be talking about confidence in the kitchen, safety, portions, healthy eating habits, again, all things nutrition, and DSGO families. At the very end of this podcast, we are going to be announcing a really awesome partnership that will be happening this summer, so stay tuned until then. Well, Kenlyn, if you could introduce yourself and maybe tell your full job title.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, so my name is Kenlyn Shettlesworth. I am a nutrition program associate with the University of Missouri Extension in the Family Nutrition Education Program.
You said that way better than me.
Well, I would never expect you to know the full title for sure. I had it written down, So I've been in this role for almost a year. My job as an NPA is to travel around the county teaching nutrition and cooking classes. I teach classes for people of all ages and backgrounds. Some highlights: I've taught classes at the Springfield Dream Center, the American Indian Center, the Glow Center just down the street there, the YMCA, Springfield Public School Early Childhood Centers, Empower Abilities, and a bunch of other places. Wow. In that year, I've helped over 500 people try healthy eating, exercise, budgeting, and cooking and trying new foods. I also go to two food pantries in town. I go to Crosslines and Flourish, where I help people apply for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, so SNAP applications, and I've helped over 100 people apply for those. So that's the background.
Wow.
You've done a lot.
Snaps for Kenlyn.
Again, I wrote it all down.
That is incredible. Well, that gives you just a little bit of a hint to what we're going to be announcing at the end of this podcast. So, I just want to get started, but individuals with Down syndrome often thrive on routine, and which can make introducing new healthy habits challenging if they're used to a lot of unhealthy habits or unhealthy snacks that they might love. How would you... Sorry, my brain is all frazzled.
You're good.
We really want to talk about effective strategies to gradually implement healthier things. How could you do that?
Yeah, so when you're talking about adding new healthy habits in, it's best to start small. Mm-hmm. When we talk about implementing whole grains, one thing we'll talk about here and also beyond is half of the grains that we eat should be whole grains. Now, I always tell people, you're not just going to switch to whole grains immediately. Start incorporating it into smaller things where you could get used to the taste as you go. Also, a habit starts with one step and then the next step and the next step. You're never going to start running a marathon in a day, and you're never going to start having healthy habits in a day. Mm-hmm. So equipping yourself with that knowledge and working step by step to get that knowledge to your brain so you can keep doing it is the secret.
Well, first, starting at the grocery store, I wanted to ask what strategies can help people with Down syndrome understand price comparison and also make healthy, budget-friendly choices at the store.
Yeah, so the first thing that I always say about going to the grocery store actually happens before the grocery store. You should go to the grocery store with a list. Because when you go to the grocery store with a list and you stick to it, you're more likely to stay on budget, and also you're less likely to buy things you already have. The TikTok sound, go to the store, buy a bottle of hoisin sauce, open the fridge, oh no, I already have a bottle of hoisin sauce. Have you guys heard that one? Maybe I'm just the TikTok person. Someone out there knows what I'm talking about, but look it up. There's a guy, and he's like, I have 6 bottles of hoisin sauce because he always forgets he has hoisin sauce. So checking and making sure that you have all the ingredients that you have for the recipes what you have in the pantry, what you have in the fridge, and then what you could buy at the store. And so that's really important, and we'll talk more about like meal planning and stuff too. It's always good to meal plan and try to, have a plan for the week when you go grocery shopping.
I need to be better about that.
Yeah.
But specifically, even for people with Down syndrome, how helpful it would be to have on the list an order of how they go through the shop as well.
Yes, that is one thing that I think is really helpful. Is you can get on like iPhones the reminders app. You can make a grocery list, and as you type things in, it automatically sorts it for you.
Whoa!
Yeah,
nice.
which is really helpful. I use that. I use that for both my classes and for myself. It makes it easier. And I also think that if you're new to going out and grocery shopping on your own, going in with someone who knows the store, like a friend or a family member, and just like touring the grocery store. I know that sounds weird, but like touring the grocery store is a great way to introduce yourself to it.
Or going with staff.
Yeah, going with staff. That's a great
just
idea.
to get familiar with the one that you're going to be using, because every store is different. And set
Yeah,
up
like
different,
our
right?
two Hy-Vees are backwards.
Oh, okay.
Our Hy-Vees are very like they flip.
And I feel like
So-
Walmarts are like that too.
Yeah,
They're
some
not all
Walmarts
set
flip
up,
as well.
Yeah, the same. So,
Yeah.
so when we're working with our individuals with Down syndrome, what is a good way to help them prepare like a balanced, healthy diet using foods that they already like to eat or enjoy?
So the baseline for this is My Plate. Have you guys heard of My Plate? Yeah, so My Plate is the new food pyramid like we were talking about before, and it is the portion sizes of how much you should be eating in a day.
Okay.
So half of what you eat in a day should be fruits and vegetables. The other half should be grains, protein, and dairy. And based on a 2,000 calorie diet, this is what that looks like. So you need 2 cups of fruits and vegetables a day. You need 2 cups of fruit, 2 cups of vegetables, 6 ounces of grain, 5.5 ounces of protein, and 3 cups of dairy. And for each individual, that can look very different, So if you go to myplate.gov/myplateplan, you can type in your information and it'll tell you exactly the amount that you specifically need for a day,
Okay.
which is a
Good.
great resource.
I'll
Yeah.
have that in the description below of this video as well.
Yes,
So,
it's a great resource, and that website is great too. And so finding things in those food groups that you like, and then saying, okay, I need to have 2 apples today, and that will give me my 2 fruit. I need to have, I think it's like 6 long carrots a day, and then you can break it up and say, if I have 2 carrots, then I can have this many broccoli and this many spinach. So that's always a great way to look at it when you're breaking it down.
Awesome.
yeah.
So we've talked about the grocery store. We've talked about meal planning a little bit. So I know that a big concern is safety in the kitchen. So when we're moving into the kitchen, what are some strategies and tools that we can use to be safe and maintain? Because I know that's a concern with a lot of our caregivers and parents, is allowing that independence in cooking, but doing it safely.
For sure. So always, if you're starting, especially with sharp knives, always start with a butter knife. Surprisingly, you can cut a lot of things with a butter knife.
Right.
I did a lot when
Yeah.
I first moved out.
You can cut way more things than you think with a butter knife. Even if you just have to start with a banana and butter knives to get used to how you hold the knife with the claw. I'm showing the camera the claw is how you hold things to make sure you don't cut, because if you have your hand flat out like this, you're way more likely to cut things, and cut things off more like. But
Yeah, my husband's going to be like, wow, you need to be at this thing that we're going to put at the end of this podcast.
yeah, and so practicing with a butter knife, or even like a plastic serrated knife, like the ones you get for picnics and stuff,
Right.
that is a great way to start. And if you're more of a visual learner, there are a bunch of videos online, or you can come to the thing that we'll talk about at the end of this, to see visually and to get physical practice as well. And do you guys know about the 4 steps of food safety?
No.
No.
Share it with
Do you guys
us.
want to guess? I'm covering up my paper. Do you guys
4
want to guess?
steps of food safety.
I'm not good at thinking on the spot.
I know, I'm
Did
like,
kind of put you on the spot.
Do you, if you know, comment right now.
Comment now. You have 5 seconds.
I don't
Okay.
know if I do. No.
Okay, so I'll give you 2, and we'll see if we can
Okay.
get the rest. Clean,
Okay.
separate, and then the last 2 start with a C.
Cook,
Good.
clean, separate, cook, and clean again. No?
No. It's chill. So that
okay.
one's a little bit harder because it's not like refrigerate or keep cold. It's chill. So these are the things that we teach to stop foodborne illness. A lot of people don't know that foodborne illness can live in your system for 2 weeks. So you can eat something and then 2 weeks later you can get sick from it. So all the time I hear people talking about, I've never gotten sick from doing this. It's like, you just didn't think you did, you know? If you, and it can just make you tired. You know, it can just make you sluggish. So you never know if you are exposing yourself to foodborne illness. And then if you get a really bad one, then it's really bad. So for like clean, it's cleaning all fruits and vegetables before you cut them, even if you don't eat the outside. Cleaning all surfaces, making sure you clean all your dishes correctly. Separate is keeping raw meat from ready-to-eat fruits and vegetables or pantry goods. Even when you're at the grocery store, keeping, you know, I always keep my meat in the little, like, baby carrier section, and I keep the fruits and vegetables under, you know, just to keep that separation. Cook, always use a meat thermometer. Do you guys have a meat thermometer?
Yes.
Good. Always have a meat thermometer, and make sure you're cooking your food to the proper temperature. And then for chill, putting things in the refrigerator as quickly as possible. If you have food out for 2 hours, the rate of bacteria grows exponentially. And we'll talk about that more in the thing that we're doing. But and if it is hotter than 90 degrees outside, that time goes down to 1 hour. It doesn't matter what temperature it is out inside, like a building. If it's 90 degrees, that goes down to 1 hour. And so those are
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I always think about
I didn't know
when
that.
I was a kid and my mom would like rent a picnic shelter and we'd have a picnic and the potato salad would be sitting out for hours on end.
Right.
It's like, how did I survive?
I know too much now.
Yeah. Don't think about Thanksgiving too much. Don't think about that either.
Right. We're putting the food away immediately.
That's the best
No
practice, you know?
seconds.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Done.
Well, we talked about all things food. Now I want to get into physical activity and exercise. Sometimes because of low muscle tone or coordination, physical activities they'll be harder or even less appealing. What types of physical activities are both enjoyable and accessible that can help promote regular movement? And then why is it so important that caregivers help them explore to figure out what activities actually work best for each individual?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know the amount of physical activity you need in a day. Adults need 30 minutes of moderate physical activity a day. Kids need 60 minutes. So that's always the baseline that we start with. And physical activity can be everything from walking the dog to jogging to biking to hiking. It's not, you're not going to go out, like I said, and run a marathon in a day, quite literally. It's always about starting and finding things that you like to do. So I know my physical activity, some days I go to the gym, some days I go walk my dog around the park, and those are equal, You always want to start small as well. Again, not going to run a marathon in a day. If you start incorporating it 2 or 3 times a week, then you'll start, I really enjoy doing this, and try out different kinds of physical activity as well. Physical activity is also more fun when you do it with people, so find like a group of friends to hang out with or go walking with your family. It's a great way to introduce that as well. Do you guys know about chair exercises?
I've heard of them.
Her father-in-law, who works with me, he just showed me a video of that, and I tried them. And let me tell you, they're not easy.
They're not, no.
They're not easy at all. Like, I might have been sore the next day, but
That's what they do at the nursing homes a lot, don't they?
Yeah, well, listen, I must need to be there because it was hard.
Yeah. And so you can exercise from your couch while you're, watching The Bachelor. Like, that's just something you can do. And so if you look up those chair exercises, we also incorporate some of those into my classes that I do. You can cut this out if you want, but I'm going to tell a funny story. There is a group of teenagers that I teach, and in that class, we were required to do physical activity. Every single time, I'm like, all right, let's stand up and do the physical activity. If they're feeling really sassy that day, they'll sit there like this and just stare at me, and I'll say, great, you guys want to do chair exercises? Let's do them! And then we go in and do chair exercises. And so it's
You're going to have to leave.
You're always going to have to, find a way to do it. They're so
good.
funny. Okay. Also, there are a bunch of exercise videos online. There are people who do exercise dances, like dancing to pop songs, so that's really fun.
Which a lot of our friends would love that.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
And you can make your own fitness dances too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
One of my students does the Xbox has the like Dance Central or whatever it's called, or just Dance.
Just Dance,
yes.
yes.
And that's what she does. Her mom sets a timer, and she does it for like 20 minutes every day.
So
and
good.
She calls it moving her body time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
it is,
I
you know?
love
and
that.
she has a blast.
With a timer, too.
Yeah. Like when I was a kid, it was Wii Fit. Was the big thing. I remember sitting there boxing on the Wii for hours on end
Me
and
too.
getting a lot of
Right?
exercise, you know?
And you
so,
didn't know it was.
yeah, be creative, try new things. It doesn't hurt to try. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. You know?
Yeah,
And that's the beauty of it. There are so many ways to exercise. You can try so many different ways. Even like mowing the lawn or cutting up a tree that fell down. That is physical activity.
Right.
And people often think physical activity just has to be like lifting weights and running. There's so much you can do.
But movement at least once a day of some
For
kind.
sure.
What I've heard you say multiple times with the food, with this, is that you don't just do it the first time. It takes doing this over and over and
takes
over
time.
again to build the routine. And so I think that's important to pull out, is like with a healthy diet, you're not just going to eat carrots one day and then the next day be skinny, like, or whatever. Like, you got to keep eating the carrots, right? Or with exercise, you've got to keep doing it over and over to build that routine and figure out what you like. So I feel like that's super important to point out, because you've said it in every aspect. Is it takes a while, right?
Yeah, and you know, you're gonna slip up sometimes. Have I gotten an entire box of Little Debbie snacks and eaten them in 2 days? Yes.
Yeah.
Because we are all human.
Right.
You know? People who say that they eat healthy every single day are lying to you.
Right.
You know, we all try our best, and you know, what's healthy for one person might not be healthy for another person.
Right.
So it's about also letting yourself learn, letting yourself grow, and forgiving yourself for the things that might seem like you're not doing the best.
Right,
Same with
yeah.
everything. You're not going to learn math in a day. You're not going to understand calculus in a day. You're not going to understand biology in a day. It's the exact same thing. So.
Yeah, for sure. So how can caregivers or educators or anyone support our individuals with Down syndrome in developing like a weekly schedule or routine, developing a routine? Like, how can we aid in that process?
Yeah. So I think especially for caregivers, practice what you preach. You know, again, we're all human. You don't have to eat healthy every single day. But if you say to someone with Down syndrome, I'm going to make a list today for my groceries. Do you want to make one for you too? Doing it together. Again, exercising is better when you do it together. And also promoting the routine of like, what day do you make your list? Do you make it every Sunday evening? Do you make it, you know, on Wednesday after you get paid? You know, planning things out for a time where it's going to happen every single week.
That's good.
And really practicing meal planning, getting recipes, trying new recipes, finding recipes you like. I always say every family should try one new recipe a week, because you never know what you're going to like. But, you know, growing up, my mom had tacos every Tuesday, and then this day, and this day. And
Right.
it gets too routine sometimes.
Right.
And you get stuck in the idea that, like, these are the foods that I eat. So always try new recipes. I am going to plug our app. Seasonal and Simple is an app that's created by Mizzou Extension that has seasonal recipes for seasonal ingredients. I say seasonal a lot, but
That's okay.
Seasonal.
whatever. It's seasonal.
But I like that, because sometimes you go to the store and you have a recipe and maybe what you need isn't available for that time. And so
My summer squash is always gone.
Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
having
R.I.P.
that-
summer squash.
right, it would be like, oh, cool, this is available
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
it also has all the information for the farmers markets in your area too.
Wow.
So if you wanted to go, this is a great way to save money too, is going outside of the grocery store, going to farmers markets, going to local produce stands. Those are a great way to get seasonal ingredients and also save money as well.
Awesome.
So good. Well, we'll plug the app in the description below. We have finally gotten to the end of the podcast.
Yay.
Kenlyn, thanks for being on and sharing so
you.
much. I'm really hoping that a lot of caregivers and, I mean, anyone that works with individuals with Down syndrome or just in general has a lot of good takeaways that they can apply at home, which, speaking of which, so finally our announcement. DSGO, Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks, who sponsors this podcast, is partnering with Kenlyn in Mizzou to host an 8-week class that's teaching all of the things that we talked about, and it's this summer. So the dates for this, so let me go to my little notes, June 23rd through August 18th, every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. Kenlyn, do you want to talk a little bit more about what we're going to do specifically at these classes?
Yeah, so the curriculum we're using is called Fuel for Life. It's a curriculum that's really based on healthy eating for cheap and quick. We want to make sure that people, if they have snacks, are getting all the nutrients they need, and if they only have 20 minutes to eat dinner, they have the tools to do that as well. So we'll talk about cooking methods, food safety, knife skills, nutrition guidelines, and how to plan for a busy life. And one exciting thing about this class is for any participants who are 18 plus who attend 6 sessions, they will be given a free small appliance.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so some of the small appliances you can get are an air fryer, a crock pot, a food processor, an Instapot, pots and pans, a small microwave. So anyone who's 18 plus and lives on their own, if they come to 6 of those 8 classes, they will get that.
So amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And everyone who comes every time will be getting what we call a reinforcement, or I call it a swag item, just a little takeaway to take home after every lesson. And I brought some for you guys.
Oh, wow,
thank
a
you.
gift. Eat smart.
Like a tiger.
Yeah, so some pot holders.
Awesome.
We have a bunch of things that we give out. So it's free food and free stuff. You can't go wrong.
Again,
Nice.
so
I
we'll
love
be
that.
posting this on our social media as well as on our app. So make sure you check those out for when we're going to be posting those signups and that information. Or if you want information right now, you can email info@dsgo.life and we'll get that to you. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
fun.
And I hope to see lots of people at
Yes.
the class this summer.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm very excited.
All right. See you guys next time.
See ya.
If you would like to learn more about Upside Down Mercantile, you can go to shopupsidedown.com or visit us on Commercial Street in Springfield, Missouri. If you have a topic you'd like to know more about, you can email them to info@dsgo.life.